Hey guys, this is John, and I am playing Title Tuesday on chess.com. It is the August 2017 Title Tuesday. Starting in 1 minute, 216 title players taking part, possibly getting even more right before the deadline. So Danya Naroditsky is the top player. Not so many elite GMs. I mean, I say not so many elite GMs, but with all due respect to guys like Andreykin, who clocks in at number 5 somehow on the rating list, I would think he'd be higher. But you don't see guys like Magnus or Hikaru, or who else plays these? Maxime Vachier-Lagrave sometimes plays, but still quite strong. And I'm playing Grandmaster Tennis Master. Did I really get paired up in the first round? That's surprising, okay. So this is a Cuban Grandmaster. I don't remember which Grandmaster this is, but we'll find out afterwards, I'm sure. So I'm going to invite the Nimzo. I'll play e3. And then I might take on d5 and just define the structure immediately. Usually black takes with the pawn. Let's play the knight out. This is 10 rounds of 3+2 blitz, if you're unfamiliar with the Title Tuesday schedule. I've got my Starbucks, I'm good to go. And I am just local recording these games. As you noticed, there wasn't a stream. I said I might be streaming, but I decided just to try to take this a bit more seriously. I wanted to local record and give myself a better chance that way. Okay, trading the light square bishops. I'm tempted just to jump into e5, either before or after the trade. I think maybe taking first. Can I take and then play queen a4 even? Let's take, first of all. So queen a4, how will we respond? Probably queen c8, something like that. I think I like knight e5 a bit better. Let's just outpost this knight. Maybe f4 to follow. I'm also playing around with knight c6, forking the queen and the bishop. And he goes c5. All right. So again, I'm thinking of the same moves. Queen a4, knight c6, moves like that. Queen a4, he'll probably react with knight c7, I'm guessing. Not 100% sure. Let's try it, though. Looks interesting. Knight c7, I can play a3, get him to take on c3. I'm shocked I got paired up in the first round. I mean, my rating is not so bad on chess.com with blitz. I don't play so much on chess.com, especially in the blitz category, but I think in almost every Title Tuesday, I've always been paired down in the first round. Must be a strong one. It must be many GMs in the, say, like 24 to 2600 rating range. So maybe I take back what I said about this being a weaker Title Tuesday. Not as top-heavy, let's say. So knight c7, yeah, knight c6 is going to be answered by queen d7, and he kind of pins me, so I think he just like a3 might be better. Yeah, let's play a3, get him to take. Bishop a5, I have b4, so yeah, I'm anticipating this capture. Now bishop b2 would be standard. Also f3 looks reasonable. Maybe f3, I want to keep this knight out of e4. And now bishop b2. Yeah, let's do that. Probably bringing a rook to c1 is logical here. Maybe rook f2. Rook f2 could be more to the point, because I think eventually I'd like to get in e4. Let's play rook f2. I want to guard that c2 square in the event of a trade on d4. Okay, knight c6 looks too ticky-tack. I don't think that's a good idea. I think just like rook e1 makes sense. He wants to trade for my knight. I feel like I should retain this piece. Because if we trade, it'll be knight versus bishop that's temporarily buried. And since I'd like to play e4 sometime in the future, I want to keep pieces on board. Try to play for the initiative. My queen isn't doing anything over here. I need to get it back to, say, d1. He's going to play c4. Okay, let's go here. Now e4 is even more of a idea for me because there's not tension between those pawns. But I got to time it right. If I play it now, he can jump in. I think, first of all, I'm just going to bring this back. Maybe put it on d2. f5. Okay. Huh. It's a bit surprising. All right, let's break. Think about the exchange sack, but it doesn't appear to lead to much. Take d5. He can just hide his knight. I don't think I want to play e5, allow knight e4, so that leaves taking on d5, which I think I should play. Let's go rook e5. Can play his knight into f4, one of the knights. Place that one. Go queen here. If he takes twice on e5, then he loses the rook on c8. So that can't be played. I want to play g3 and kick that knight away so I can get at d5. But the immediate g3 was unplayable. Okay, g3 now. Yeah, let's do it. h5. Okay. I think I have to go here. Otherwise, knight h3. Wow. All right, got to take that clearly. It's tough. He has knight e2 against this, but I didn't really see what else to do. Knight e2, maybe I can play king f2. We'll try it. Okay, well, we managed to survive that. Now I've got checks against his king. He drops this. Let's go here. Can't swap down. Let's go here. Just preparing queen e5. I think I can take that. Just trying not to blunder. Let's go here. Just being very, very careful. Can't be too careful in these positions, though. At some point, I gotta offer a queen trade or otherwise try to do some damage. Okay, now he's run out of checks, and I can try to play queen d4 next move. Queen d4 is extremely helpful. Let's go h4. Let's advance the A pawn. Seems helpful. Okay, now I think I can just trade down. And he's going to be too slow. And I know how to win this. All right. Starting off Title Tuesday with a win. I like it. So, he sacrificed a piece with queen takes e5. The position was highly unclear at this point, needless to say. I do take, and then after knight takes f4, his threat is queen e1. That's worth pointing out. I don't think I pointed that out at the time. And if I played rook f1 in response to that, I would lose my queen. I can't go to g2, so he's threatening queen e1. There weren't so many ways to deal with that. I thought if king f1, he might just creep in with queen e4, threatening to come down here. So rook f3 looks like the best attempt. And when I first looked at rook f3, I thought that it was just bad in view of knight e2, and after knight takes, rook takes f3. But I have king f2, and after this, we were able to swap pieces, or I was able to swap pieces. I say we, because I feel like you guys are playing along with me. Team Scandy. And yeah, once he loses the c-pawn, I think he just outright blundered the c-pawn, because I would think he would want to keep this. But once he loses that, this should be a technical win. I only have 2 pawns left, but so long as I can protect my king and don't let him, win 1 or 2 of the pawns, it should almost certainly be decisive. I had to dance around with my king forever. And you can see eventually I just made a simplification, queen takes g7, because with my extra pawn here and the fact that it takes him so long to win my h-pawn, get his king out of the way, and push his pawn, this is simply game over. So, all right. I liked how that turned out. Let's just take a look at what's going on in the tournament. This is the Masterclass Title Tuesday. I guess chess.com is involved with the promotion of the Kasparov Masterclass. See which games are left. Oh, we got a king, bishop, and knight versus king. We'll get to see the technique here from Mishra Swayams. I am Mishra Swayams, who I played before. OTB, nice guy. Also played him in the Pro Chess League. So he's trying to force that black king over to the h8 square. Doesn't quite have the right configuration. Let's see, they started on move, what was it, 77? So yeah, he's still got plenty of moves left. But needs to start driving that king over. So I think he should play, oh, okay. He needs the knight like on this square and not on d7. People in the chat are speculating that he doesn't know how to do it. Oh, and someone actually says, I've been using Chessable to learn this. It says E.O. Guel. I'm glad to hear that, E.O. Guel. I'm not trying to promote my own site, but that's just cool that someone randomly says that in the chat. Yeah, okay, so now he needs to get his king out of the way, maneuver the knight to f7 to guard h8, or a8, excuse me, and force the king in one of these 2 directions. You can't mate the king in the same color as your bishop. Okay, now he's got it. Knight d5 was the move. King back, king there. You got to go play knight d5. There he gets it. And if king here, okay, well, king a4 I think is actually more tenacious. Yeah, now he's doing this so-called W maneuver. And if king a5, there's bishop c7 check. White's covering all those squares. Okay, now I think he's going to do it. Does he have enough moves? Yeah, move 77, he's still got time. I think he can still pull it off. Still not perfect technique. Like that wasn't the greatest move either. Bishop a5. King here, black might slip out. I think black is going to slip out. Yeah, he let him get out. You can still keep him trapped in like king d8, king here, but that does not inspire confidence. This is what's cool about Title Tuesday. You get to see some of these textbook endings, and you get to see, especially if title players know how to do them. And the masses, the titled masses, and the non-titled masses too, are watching you, criticizing your every move. or being impressed by every move that you make. Okay, he's got him in the corner. This is winning. How many moves does he have? Can he... Ooh, this is like one move away. I think black can claim a draw, right? Oh, wow. Was it exactly move 50? Oh, no. Maybe it was. I thought that was like exactly move 50. All right, well, I've got my next game coming up. I have white again against Velati Wizard. Luke Harmon, Velati. Let's try to keep this going. Get the double white. Got to make the most of it. Okay, let's play c4 again. Maybe we'll get a repetition of the same opening. We will. All right, let's play the same thing. Thematic already. c5, I think I'm just going to castle. Let's take. I'll saddle him with this IQP and see how he plays it. Let's go a3. b4. Now I think I should play knight b5 and try to get my knight to that square. I might want to reposition my bishop, though. That's one thing I'm thinking. Yeah, I think I'm going to go here. I recently listened to the Perpetual Chess podcast featuring Luke. Impressive dude. Okay, let's go here, looking for a trade of the light square bishops. Okay, knight f5 is possible. Knight f5 and then take on g7 may be possible. It's an interesting idea. Looks correct. I think if he gives me this resource, I got to go for it. So my idea is queen e6, knight takes, and then f4. It's also, yeah, that's probably the best idea if he plays queen e6. Also, if he plays queen f6, I might be able to play knight takes g7, this f4 move. Strongly considering it. Yeah, let's try it. He just has a lot of stuff lined up on that diagonal. That's what's encouraging me to do this. Really? Okay, I gotta take it, because if I don't, knight g3. So, takes is forced. Huh. That is quite interesting. Queen takes e4 and take on g7. It might just be a little bit worse in that endgame, though. Yeah, I didn't see this idea. So I think I have to go for this endgame. Where I fear I may be a tad worse. His knight is pretty strong. Okay, let's play f5. I'm trying to strand this e-pawn so I can attack it with moves like rook f4. Knight takes g7 was ambitious, but perhaps not correct. Attack this guy. Now if he pushes, I'm thinking I should throw on f6 check, just to make his king go somewhere undesirable. Okay, he does that instead. It surprises me a little. Okay, let's still play f6 check. So maybe I can get him into some sort of mating net idea. He's got to be a bit careful about his king's safety, like rook g4. Now becoming possible. He's threatening knight takes a3. Really want to get at his king, though. Knight e2 comes to mind, certainly. Let's try this. Rook d2, I'm going to play knight here. Yeah, knight e3. I was just wondering what's going to happen after that move. Okay, rook here, check, knight f1. That doesn't look so bad. I think I can do that, I think. But I'm so pinned down. That's the problem, maybe. Rook e6 is probably a good move here. Goes back. Back is also a good move. Yeah, his e-pawn now is just going to run. Yeah, not sure I can stop that e-pawn. Here, e3. And I lose my rook. All right, I got to give up the exchange, but it's not pretty. So I got to play that move next, unfortunately. And he's just going to stride up and take this guy. My knight is essentially trapped. Yeah, okay. Resign that one. Looks like I misjudged the complications after bishop takes knight takes g7 rather. So this move here. He saw that very fast too. The refutation, that was impressive. Here, bishop takes, and I have to take it because if I don't, like king here, knight g3 check, pawn takes. He has queen h6, and I mated. So this is forced. Knight c4. My queen's under attack. So is his queen. I could play bishop takes g7, but I didn't like the look of knight takes e3 when he's on my rook. If rook e1, there's knight c2. So I believe all of the tactics are going in his favor. And here, I think I'm simply worse, unfortunately. His knight is better than my knight. It's in my half of the board, and it's stable. I can't attack it with my pawns. It's always monitoring the a3 pawn. And I think, most importantly, his e-pawn is a huge bother. I tried to separate it from the flock by playing f5. But, yeah, this didn't work out so well. Maybe right around here I can improve. Like, rook f1, in hindsight, didn't lead to anything. Maybe rook e1 was necessary to gang up on this pawn. I was a bit afraid that if I went for the e-pawn after some sort of capture here and simplifications, my f6 pawn would drop. So I therefore was trying to play for an attack against his king, but as you can see, I never got anything coordinated against his king. Like rook g4 is on deck, but he put a stop to that with h5. h5 was a very good move. Yeah, and I think this is losing after knight e3. Thought about rook e1, but after knight takes on g2, actually maybe that's playable. Oh, I saw a line. Rook e1, knight takes g2, rook on f4 takes on e4. So, like, say this variation. He can take here. I take on e8. And then he has check. He's going to win my h-pawn. Also, my f-pawn is almost certainly going to drop. This has to be losing. He has h4 as well. Maybe I can play this move instead. But it looks very iffy. I mean, even something like this. I guess he's got to watch out for knight e4. But something like this, and then maybe move the rook away. Say rook here. Should be very, very good for him. My king is weak. Yeah, knight e2 as well got me in trouble, someone said in the chat. But yeah, the position was coasting downhill. Be curious about the evaluation of this position. Maybe it's a move order problem. I mean, he is starting to come into c4, so I could consider playing f4 right away. Knight c4, then knight f5, but it looks a little loose. Maybe that works, though. As queen d7, I can play something like queen g4. That's quite complicated if I try to switch up the order of moves. I have no idea what's happening here. Okay, let's go back to the games. Let's just see some of these top players. Oh, Aman is playing. Let's watch Aman Hamilton's game. I think Aman is playing a tournament right now in Biel, Switzerland. I don't know how he did today, but he was doing pretty well in the event, so I certainly wish him luck. He's very close to the Grandmaster title. Great player, so I think he can make it. So here he's trying to defend king and rook versus two rooks. I'm chuckling a bit because I can sympathize with Aman's plight. I had this somewhat recently. Although I think I had the two rooks. Yeah, I had the two rooks. Never mind. I was thinking I had king and rook at one point, but I did have the two rooks. This is lost, of course, if white just makes a trade of the rooks at some stage. It's completely over, but can white pull it off? Or does Aman have some sort of trick? Some sort of stalemate trick? Not looking like it, unless he can somehow take away that square from himself. Guess white's just going for this idea. I'll probably play rook f3 now. Rook f5. Okay, he's going to see where he goes. Oh, I didn't even notice his opponent was a GM, by the way. I thought that said CM for some reason. So maybe Aman and I will play. You never know. He's putting up some tenacious defense. How long has he been defending this endgame? Since move 63. Okay. Yeah, this is probably the beginning of the end, because now the rook has to stay on the h-file. And I think white can even just do that if they want. Well, actually, no, that's not true, because then the rook could run away. So what is white's plan going to be here? Probably bring the king to g1 and then play rook h2. Now he has to play rook h1 to stop king g1. Yeah, now it's over. Rook h2. Okay, so that game is done. Who else we got here? This is the only other game remaining in the round. GM versus CM. Oh no, I keep seeing GM. Like the CM and GM look very similar to me for some reason. Two CMs going at it. White completely lost though. This game will be over soon. I'm going to put out a video soon, by the way, telling you guys what I'm up to schedule-wise in the coming months. I'm still working out my tournament schedule, but I'm playing 2 9-round tournaments confirmed in August. One is here in Minnesota. It's a GM Norm round robin. And the other one is the Southwest Open in Dallas, Texas. It begins, I believe, August 31st. It goes through September 4th. So that'll be 2 good 9-round tournaments I'm playing in the month of August. And I've got my eye on a couple tournaments in September, too. I'm just working out the details. So stay tuned for that video. All right, round 3 coming up. There's going to be a bunch of perfect players still. Grandmaster Krulyaro. Okay, so this is Grandmaster Yaroslav Zarabyuk, who I just taught with at a camp in Arizona. Really cool guy. I like him a lot. And strong player. He's like 26, 30, or 40 FIDE. So let's see what I can do against him. I'll play the Slav. He knows quite a bit of theory. I'm going to play this knight bd7 line and then go knight b6. I play this line from time to time. It's decent. I think here the move is knight fd7, if I'm not mistaken. Now I want to take with the knight. And I always forget, I don't want to play e5 here. I think I just want to develop. There's some instances where you can play a quick e5, but I don't think that was one of them. Now, where to put the bishop? d6 or e7? I'm going to go to e7 because I can't quite remember. So let's just develop kind of comfortably. Yeah, he's hitting this pawn. But I feel like I don't want to play queen b6. Queen b6, take d5. It must be somewhat worse in those resulting complications. Maybe that's not so bad, actually. Let's do it. Now I'm just going to come here, I think. Because whenever white plays d5, we have the c5 square. So I figured that that can't be so bad. He just builds the pressure. Okay, here I'm thinking take, bishop c5. I feel like I should definitely take once. And yeah, bishop c5 is looking quite good. Trade the bishop, so now I get access to, say, like the b3 square. I will have a weakness on c6, but then again, his b2 pawn will be weak. I like that my light square bishop is open now, too. Plays bishop f2, that's probably smart. Okay, let's swap and bring this up. So this is in the air. I think, therefore, he should maybe play bishop c4. Yeah, and he does. This is a weird looking move, but I kind of like it. So in preparation for some sort of trade, I can get this, and I also have b5 in mind down the line, or maybe takes and then b5. I wanted to play h6, but I wasn't sure about taking on c6 and then rook d6. Got to be a little cautious about that. I'm letting him play d6 because it looks to me like that pawn will just be weak if he plays that way, so I don't mind to see that. Really want to get knight b3 in. It's almost even b5 working here. Not quite, though. Okay, let's just bring this over. For lack of a better move, maybe king f8 to come. Yeah, might as well bring the king a bit closer. We're in a bit of a standoff right now. Take on d5, maybe? Let's postpone that for one move. See if he plays his king up to d4. He might do that. g4. He's just going to expand. Okay. Okay, what about f6 followed by bishop back? Actually seems like a decent plan, so I'm going to do it. Get the bishop back to f7. My position looks passive, but it's sturdy, I believe, and I don't see a good way for white to open up the game. Mainly because of my knight on c5. That's just such a strong piece. Okay, he finally pushes this. Let's give a check and see what his intentions are with his king. So if he goes king d4, knight d7, and c5 is a big threat. Yeah, so he retreats. Okay. I think I should use this rook. Not sure which rook I should play to d8, but I chose that one. Okay. He's trying for knight f4. I know that a4 was weak, but I feel like I can take that later. Maybe the first priority is just to swap these guys. Now rook d4, something like that. All right, I'm gonna bite. I'm greedy. I can't help it. But the onus will be on him. Let's do this. I'm gonna give him the h-pawn. So I can actually like kind of trap his knight in this way. Okay, let's go here. Very little time for both of us. Blockade. Getting ready to double. Okay, now I have all these nice pawns that I hope will advance. Let's push this. Ooh, I don't know about that last move of mine. I can just take. It's important. And get ready to double. I think I can take. Oh no. I just had a hallucination. That was really bad. That was really dumb. Yeah, that was really, really dumb. Oh man. That was quite the mistake. Now he can take there. Yeah. Ugh. I thought I could play c3, c2. I should have just backed off. That was awful. Okay, we still have chances, John. We still have chances to hold this. Okay, I'm just going to shuffle. Basically ask him how he intends to win it. Probably go there. Looking for knight f4. Let's go back though. Got a bit of a fortress going with the king and the knight as it currently stands. I think I can try to get at king h4. Ooh, maybe he just wins it now. Yeah, that might be over. Actually, maybe not. Maybe I do hold after all. Ah, but then king f4. Ouch. Zugzwang. Brutal. I lost on time, but yeah. That was awful. I'm sure I missed something in the endgame too. I can't believe I missed that. I thought I could just play c3 here. And after king takes here, but he has rook f1 check, and then he gets over to stop the pawns. In any case, that was a really poor decision to make in time pressure. Doing that, I mean, just play some move to defend the pawn. But yeah, I thought my pawns were carrying the day, but then after this, I just lose them all. And the endgame, I don't know. I felt like I put up pretty decent defense, but I did never see an opportunity to win that remaining pawn. Yeah, because here I take, I think that's... Well, I guess I could play knight... Nah, knight g6 loses. Yeah, so if I can't take this, then king f4, I'm losing the knight, it's game over. Bad technique. Just really disappointed, because I had plenty of time too, but I got excited when I thought I saw a win. Yeah. Because usually 2 pawns connected on like the 3rd or the 6th rank are worth a piece, but in this case, that was just a very, very bad decision. Yeah, any move like this is gonna win the game. Okay. Don Cappuccino is the next opponent. My 3rd white in 4 games. So I have 1 out of 3. After that good start. Still a lot of games to be played though. Let's play knight f3. d6 is always a tricky move order. Okay, and we'll go for a Dutch. I'm just going to play a double fianchetto line that I sometimes play. It's pretty easy to handle for white. I'm going to step here just to try to make black clarify their intentions with that piece. And now I think I'll go for c4, maybe knight c3. Yeah, let's expand. He's trying to keep this knight entrenched in, which makes sense. Okay, here I'm thinking about taking and then playing f3 to challenge. It's a pretty direct plan. I think I like it. Let's keep the rooks on the board too. I could play rook takes f3, but bishop takes looks simpler. Queen e2, just protect this pawn. I figure with his bishop bad, being poorly placed there, I have a right to open the position. Okay, here I'm thinking about knight e4. Yeah, as a prelude to doing anything else. Let's go knight e4, hit the queen. I still can't take with the queen because he takes on e3, so take with the pawn now. Certainly a dangerous idea for black to open the position when he's behind in development like this. So knight d6 comes to mind. c5 also comes to mind. I think I like c5. Let's do that. Looking for queen c4, knight here ideas. He also has to be careful about the position of his queen. If take, like I might have a timely bishop c1 to try to embarrass the queen here. Got to watch out for bishop takes d4, of course, but I can see a couple lines where that might be an issue for black. So he sidesteps. Let's go bishop back, try to induce a trade down this file. If I can trade the rooks, f7 is even weaker. He's going to allow the trade to occur. Do I take right away, though? He'll take with the knight if I do, and then I can play... I can't play knight d6 quite yet. I think I do actually like this trade. I'll make it. Maybe bishop takes here. This king is just so weak, but nah, let's do pawn takes. Again, I kind of like this in mind later. Rook over. Yeah, let's do rook over. I'm not worried about a2. a2 I get into d6. I think I'll have a ton of play for the pawn. Just trying to save knight d6 for the most inopportune moment for black. Like, yeah, bishop d5. Bishop d5 is a natural move, but after knight d6, black's probably borderline losing. Wow, he's going to take on a2. That is bold. Okay, so d5 comes to mind, along with just knight d6, like I was saying. This is blitz. Let's keep it simple. Yeah, let's go here. Again, bishop c1 I don't think is working yet because a bishop takes d4 check. It's an idea, but let's send the knight in first. Now he's got to be extremely careful. Now d5 on the next move is tough to deal with for him, specifically because of his bishop here. I think he needs to move the bishop, but where to put it? All the way back on g8 or something? He's going to go knight there. Okay, so d5. d5, and how does he stop knight f7 and also the threats against his bishop? Yeah, this looks correct. My chess instincts are telling me to do it. Let's do it. Even though my instincts failed me in the last game, that's all you've got when you're playing chess. You got to stick to your guns. Which is critical. Yeah, I think this is busted. At minimum, he's losing a minor piece, maybe more, it's even tough to save the queen here. Because if bishop takes on b2, I don't even have to take with check. I just play the immediate knight f7. Knight f6. Yeah, that's going to be losing. Yeah, and here's resign. So that was a smooth game. I felt in control throughout that game. I sometimes play this line with b3, bishop b2 because I feel like it frustrates black's attempts to play e5 in the Dutch, which they really like to do. Pretty sure I've had this exact position before after knight e4, and knight bd2 is the natural move, but I think knight fd2 is a bit better because then you attack the knight twice. So if knight bd2, black could even ignore the attack and continue developing. So I think the position unfolded nicely for me. Was surprised by this series of moves. Queen g5 and then take on c4. In these sort of Stonewall Dutch setups, you very rarely see black taking on c4. I don't think it's a great structural decision. You can see that black isolates their own e-pawn in the process. And now I have a nice initiative. I think around here black has to work quickly to get the light square bishop out. Like I would think, knight f6 or take and then knight f6 is better than king h8 because even one move can just sink black. I think after this, the pressure is too great, and definitely black doesn't have time to take on a2. Or if they do, they need something precise right now to hold. Okay, so we got done kind of early. Let's take a look. Pretty sure there's a lot of players. Only 2 players with 4 out of 4. Andrakin and I don't know who this IM is, Lucas. Let's see if one of those guys is playing. Maybe they're playing each other. They should be playing each other. Oh, actually, that's 4 out of 4 because this was round 4. Yeah. So let's just look at a GM game. Spike Ernst versus Grandmaster Sebastian. White with a definite advantage here. Knight versus bishop. White has just won a pawn. Black has a poor structure too. Black's trying to activate the bishop. Knight takes e5. Black can play bishop d6, and then that'll actually win material for black. So not quite so simple yet for white. Yeah, suddenly that bishop is annoying. It's going to park itself on d4. Maybe f4 here. The f4 was worth considering. Yep, there he goes, f4. Trying to undermine the bishop. Seemed like that was stronger a move or two ago. So white's up 2 pawns, but these ones are doubled. Also, the a pawn is being kept in check right now. It can't move so quickly. Okay, now the a pawn might become dangerous while black is away doing this stuff. Maybe. Although black is ready to win this and try to wheel the rook back. Highly unclear position. Yeah, now white's going to play for activity. Go after the pawn on g6. Okay, all right. Will black's h-pawn provide counterplay now? This guy's ready to run. a6, though, is in the air. a6, is white faster? Ooh, can black play... No, I don't think black can play h2 here. Takes. King up, okay. Now the e-pawn. This is pass pawns galore. Smorgasbord of pass pawns coming from all directions. Ooh, rook f5. That wins the bishop and the game. Yeah, all white has to do is stop the h-pawn, and that's game over. So Sebastian takes that one. He's up there with 4 out of 4 as well, right? Who else do we have? Let's watch this one. Rumpel VK. Drawn pawn endgame. Not much to see there. Black's a grandmaster. He will, of course, hold that. What's going on in this endgame? Grandmaster Trade is trying to beat NM Hassler 2. This is close between a win for black and a draw. That was a good move by white. Very nice move. Force the king away from the defense of e4. Yeah, now white just has to pick up this guy, and it's a draw. Oh, is this Grandmaster Krikor? Mechatarian? Another streamer. Check out his channel. He has content in Portuguese. He's a Brazilian Grandmaster. Okay, what else here? Any other games? Nope. Okay, so we have like 5 or 6 players on a perfect score. I have white again. I'm just getting hit upside the head with whites. Not complaining. So d4 it is. Okay, this time we might have a different opening. I'm going to play bishop g5 against the Grunfeld. I think this is an intriguing line. Bishop g7, I more often see knight e4. Bishop g7 actually offered to allow me to win a pawn, take on f6, take d5, but I think e3 is a bit more restrained. Yeah, now let's just develop. Put this here. You might go for bishop g4, try to take on f3. Here I feel like I should play bishop to e2. I feel like this would be the proper square. Yeah, and he's looking for c5 later. First, I think I should castle for sure. And can I prevent him from playing c5? Or if not prevent him, be able to muster up some counterplay when he does. So a4 comes to mind, a4, b4. I think I'm going to go for that plan. This is a pretty simplistic way to play, but I've used this plan before. So basically trying to get the knight out via like that route. So send it here where it influences these squares in the middle game. It's a nice little plan. You could do this in the Slav as well. So black has some issues protecting a5 in the long run. Okay, rook c1 seems logical. I like it. Bit tempting to take with the queen here. Queen takes. Yeah, let's do it. He'll probably play bishop b7. I don't think he'll bite on the queen trade immediately. I'm trying to force a favorable endgame, though. If he takes, I'm going to take this way. Yeah. He wants at this pawn. Okay. So bishop b5 I'm looking at. Bishop b5, bishop b7, take f6, take b5, take g7, take f1, take f8. Should be up a piece there. He goes bishop a6. Okay, but now I can try to pin him. Take, take, rook c6. It's interesting. Yeah, so let's start with that. It's also knight c5. Trying to figure out the best order of moves here. You know what? Knight c5 is also very interesting. I'm going to go rook c6, though. Play for the pin. And I wonder on rook a8, can I play knight c5 then? Rook a7, and I just take on b6. So actually, he maybe has to be very careful now. Yeah. This pin is worse for him than I originally thought. Specifically because of rook a8, knight c5. I didn't notice that resource at first. Okay, he wants to trade. Certainly I should be able to do this. Now take on e7. Looks straightforward. Yeah, let's just pick up the pawn. I'll play knight e5 probably. Nope. Yeah, so now this a4 pawn, though, is loose. Rook d8 has bishop e5. I think I gotta go here. Try to keep him under wraps. Gotta watch my time, too. Maybe bishop c5 coming up. Not on rook e8, though. Rook e8, I gotta play like bishop d6, probably. It's a complicated position. Let's go here. Okay. Trying to keep these entry squares covered. Let's go here. I feel like I need some left move. So now I'm ready to take on a5 if he takes there. Then probably get behind this pawn. Yeah, I think doing that is prudent. Okay, can I win his b4 pawn? Knight c5, rook takes b4. That's a win of the pawn. That's one way to do it. Yeah, he may have to defend a pawn down endgame. That's what I'm hoping. Let's do this first. No reason to let him play h4 when we have control. Just wondering where his knight's going to go. It's a bit trapped as we speak. Need some space. Get my king up to g2 if allowed. Just guard the second rank first of all. Get this a little bit closer. Okay, come up there, attack this pawn. That might have been a big mistake by him. I'm still going to play for the win. Or try. Not quite sure what's going on here. Actually, I'm fairly certain I overpressed. I offered him a draw and he took it. Okay. Good defense by him in the end game. I don't think I played that so well. After f5. f5 to me seemed like a huge blunder because I thought after this I was just going up a pawn, but yeah, the problem is I can't go to f3 to protect because he has rook f2 mate. If I go to h3, he has knight f2. So I had to do this dance with the king on the back rank. He just checked me. He's playing good practical chess. As far as I can tell, this is like the only way to win. If I go to e1, then after rook e2 check, king d1, rook takes e3, my king is even cut off from the action. So yeah, then it boiled down to 2 versus 2 with kings and rooks on the board, but this position should be a draw. A bit disappointed in that one because it feels like I could have squeezed something more out of it. Objectively, this position is a draw, I think. But this is a position where I should be able to torture him quite a bit as white. This king and his rook were annoying, though. Yeah, maybe I need something more precise right here. I can't stop knight e1. I could throw in a check on b8. I didn't see what it accomplished, though. What about in the middle game? Because I had some nice pressure, especially after rook c6. Is there something I missed around here? Maybe I should just play knight c5 right here. If knight c5, rook takes c6, knight takes c6, he has to play rook a8. I can take e7, but that's sort of similar to the game. I win the e-pawn, but he'll still have counterplay against my queen side. Rook c1 felt natural, just doubling up. I do win that pawn, but he was slippery after this. He got his knight into c4, or was it c4? Yeah, eventually c4 and won my b-pawn. Maybe okay for black the entire way. White just a little bit better. Okay, what other games do we have going? Oh, we've got one of Amon's games. He's playing a Title Tuesday regular here, Renato Terry Lujan. But Amon is losing. No stalemate in sight with g2 always being available. Although that's a good attempt. Queen takes g1, stalemate. So Amon is going down here. His opponent can checkmate him. What's the tournament standings looking like? 3 players with 5 out of 5. These guys still playing. This is an instructive opposite color bishop position. This, I think, is a draw. Even though black is up 2 pawns, white has all these blockading opportunities. This looks almost textbook. In fact, I was studying an endgame just like this in Dvoretsky's endgame manual the other day. There's also endgames like this in 100 endgames you must know. Okay, there with bishop b2. Bishop b2 is just a temporary blockade, but yeah. So I think the point is black will never be able to play b2, and if black does come back to try to push e5 with the help of the king, then white always has king f4. So white's just going to wait with the bishop now. If ever black plays king d5, king f4. And black simply can't get through without losing one of the pawns. Yeah, instructive game right there. And this is the last one of the round. Black on the verge of winning. Chess big master. And he does win. All right, so halfway done with the tournament. Playing okay. That third game still kills me. I'm sure it will be killing me. If you guys were yelling at the screen during that game, I apologize. Okay, playing Grandmaster Scrapnel. I came to play strong players, good opponents, and that's what I'm getting. Every single round. We might have a Panov here. We will. Bishop g5, I think, is the most challenging move in this position. Let's play bishop e6. Awkward looking move, but I played this before with some success. a3, yeah, I think I faced this move. I think I want to go here, if I recall correctly. If I'm not mistaken, James Tarjan, Grandmaster Tarjan, played this against me in the Pro Chess League. Let's pre-move this capture. But this is the idea. Since my e-pawn is blocked, I have to get creative with my dark square bishop development, so trying to send it to g7, sometimes even h6 after this trade. Like here, I very well might put it on h6. Yeah, I think I will, just to keep g7 open for the king if I need to flee that way. If bishop f3, knight e7 can be played. Strategically, black has to be careful because I do have doubled f-pawns, though, so we need to bear that in mind. Yeah, so now if he checks, I can play king f8. That's very important. Tuck the king away on g7. So he's just going to take. Yeah, he's playing for kind of a direct idea. Okay, do I throw in check? I'm not sure about that endgame. I think I should keep the queens on board. It seems smartest. I could check here too, but he has b4. Yeah, not really getting anywhere with that, I don't think. So let's just castle. What's nice is I think I'm going to beat him to the c file, because notice my bishop, he can't play rook c1. Right now my bishop is doing a great job in comparison with his knight, I think. So maybe just rook c7 here. Looking to double. Also guard e7. Seems logical. Here I can play b5 if I want. I think I will. He's looking at my a-pawn and also rook e8 perhaps. So let's just take that option away from him. If I double up, probably a4 is coming. But do I really care? No, I think that's fine. Now bishop f8 is making his queen pretty uncomfortable, but maybe I should play rook c2 first. Yeah, rook c2 first looks better. Can't put a rook on the second rank, so that's annoying. And here this runs into bishop f8, which I think he almost certainly missed. a5 is a threat here. Yeah, so he goes back, understandable. Just take it. Now, how best to win this thing? I feel like I shouldn't give him the f6 pawn, so I'm going to go here. If queen takes a7, just rook takes b2. Probably just try to trade rooks next. Queen here could be played. Yeah, that seems like the most direct way to do it. You may get in h5, but h5 I don't think I really care about too much. Bring the queen back. Nice stabilizing position there. Guard h5. His knight is pretty much a dead piece. Bring the rook in. Okay, rook check, king here, check. And I think that's ball game. Oh no, he has g3. He does have g3. So let's go here first. Because now if g3, I can check, king g2. I was thinking actually check with the queen and then gang up on f2. Yeah, queen b2 after that. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, you just resign. Okay. King g2, queen b2 should be trivial with f2 falling. All right, so we get the win against GM Scrapnel in this setup. This game went eerily similar to that Tarjan game I was citing. In that game as well, I think I had a very comfortable position out of the opening. Similar structure. And I just played on the queen side and created problems for him. And I eventually won an exchange in that game too. So he did blunder rook e7, bishop f8, but already, I gotta say, I think black is clearly better here because white's knight is doing nothing. White has the d-pawn. Generally, you wouldn't want your queen blockading a pawn like that, pass pawn, but my pieces are otherwise so active. My queen is nicely centralized. It controls things on both halves of the board. I think black is just rocking in this position. So if you're looking for a decent weapon against the Panov, I can recommend this slightly unusual bishop e6 move. It's not at all bad for black. I haven't played it in any tournaments, but I've tested it quite a bit online. I've seen some games, and black seems to be doing all right with it. Let's take a look at Andrekin's game. I gotta turn my fan on too. So Andrekin versus Sebastian. This endgame looks equal. If I had to choose, I would take black because black looks more active with the rook on the second rank. Slightly more dangerous knight. There are these two pawns on the queen side, but they're not playing a role right now. So watch for Andrekin to try to create some threats against white's king. If he can do that, you know, something like h4, knight into g3. Maybe that's why Sebastian is trying to eliminate the knight. Yeah, and Andrekin is being very stubborn, doesn't want to give that knight away. f5, f4 might be coming now. Yeah, black's going to press with these pawns. Oh, and white has almost no time, I should add. Ugh, that's an unpleasant position to play with very little time on your clock. Okay, so now this mating net idea is in the air. White's got to be very cautious. Might have to play rook c1 next move, which doesn't look appetizing. So king h5 here. That's what I would think black would want to do. No, king g6. Okay, he's going to run that way. And argue that if this, king f2 and the knight controls f1. Knight e4, king e2 forced. Check. Can't step to f1 due to knight f2. This reminds me of how Nakamura tortured me. White has a better position than I did in that game from a couple Title Tuesdays ago, but still. The knight-rook combination when your king is trapped. It's not fun. Ooh, rook h3, good defensive move. I don't think Andrekin wants to play rook h2. Maybe he'll have to, though, to save the pawn. And what else can he really do? Yeah, he plays it. Now, that's still problematic for white. Wow, white just gives the knight for the pawn, and he's going to try to eliminate this. He's going to try to hustle his king over, probably via this route, win this pawn, or maybe play b5 somewhere. Can he make it in time? I think he will. I think this will be a draw. Black's king is too far away. I mean, he can try like this, knight c7, to be solid, but... Well, let's see. King takes f4, king c6, knight b8 check. King b7, king e5. No, that's not going to work. That's not going to be enough for black to win. Oh, king b6. Okay, yeah. Even more direct. Doesn't even go after the knight. Just plays for b5. And that's a straight draw. Okay. So nice defense by Sebastian with very little time. Who else do we have? Let's watch Grigorov. You step a bishop here. This is winning. Is that Alexandra Kostenyuk? Chess queen. Let's watch her. She's also just up a bishop. Totally winning. Gets multivitamin. Don't think there's too many games remaining that are important for the standings. We'll watch trade again. Competing past pawns, opposite color bishops. White has the dangerous A pawn. Black can play c2 at any time, though. Oh, but white can take it. This is probably losing now for black. Yeah, take and take on h6. Yeah, these pawns are too far away from each other. Black's not going to hold this. So just something like f5 for white. Black can never take the a pawn. Even without the a pawn, this would be losing for black. The king's too far away. So that'll be an easy win. Rook f6 here. Block the rook. So standings-wise, several players with 5.5 out of 6, including Jumanji. Jumanji 11, the FM. I'm on a plus score, so I expect to get a good opponent again. Any other games? JS Martinez, that was just over. Okay, this game, this could go for a while. So black trying to make something of this pawn up position. This is a draw, but if that pawn works its way down the board a little bit, like say it gets to e4, that'll make white more nervous. So black has to engineer some way, like put the king on d5, knight on d6, and then try to advance e5. The problem is white could always take, and they'd be in a drawn king and pawn endgame. So it would take a miracle for black to win this, or a major blunder by white. This is nearly dead. Yeah, like just don't blunder knight d5 check with the fork. Okay, knight e5. White actually could have taken there. It would have been a draw. King e3. White takes the opposition. But, all right, he's playing fast. Just trying not to lose on time. Yeah, I think the Lancer will continue to try here, but not too much to play for. When was the last capture or pawn move? No, I'm not going to bother checking. All right, while this is going, I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick. Oh boy, my opponent just played h4 against me. Well, let's see what happens here. Let's just occupy the center and see if he goes crazy with h6. All right, let's just keep taking central space. I think I'll just put a stop to h6. Be content with my good center in this position. Kind of have like a reverse King's Indian position where white has moved their pawn down the board quite a bit. Probably just continue developing. I'm hoping this h-pawn is a liability for white down the road. Yeah, let's just develop, maybe put the rook on c8. Could play c4 here. c4 is an interesting way to try to open the position at an awkward moment for white. c4 take on d3. I actually kind of like that, so... nah, let's just play rook c8. Let's castle. Still might look for a timely moment to do this, but I don't quite see that yet. He'll probably play something like knight h4 and into f5. Now I want to be ready to blow open the center when he does. He actually castles, wow. See, that I was not expecting. Okay, so now how do I negotiate this tension? c4 again comes to mind. As does just bishop g4, by the way. I'm going to play queen d7. Queen d7, rook fd8, I think. I'm hoping his queen on c2 might allow me some knight d4 shot later. Yeah, let's just bring these pieces into the game. I did wash my hands, by the way. Full disclosure. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Did not even realize that this game was up. That's one annoying thing about chess.com. Like, as soon as you open a tab, your screen capture gets thrown off, so I apologize for that. So in case you missed that, because it was cut off, he played h4 on move 1, followed by h5. Okay, rook e1, repositioning. Thinking about bishop g4. Bishop f8 makes a lot of sense. Let's play bishop f8. Yeah, so he wants this knight in on f5. Quite clearly. Let's do this. If knight f5, I can always play knight e7. So I like the fact that I can instantly offer a trade for his knight. So now I think my plan should be to take on c3 and play b4 and try to get that d4 square for my use. Do I play knight e7 right now or take and then b4? I think I'm going to play knight e7 right now. Just get rid of that pesky knight. Position's good. Fully coordinated. He's not developed yet himself. He's still got to get this bishop out. I have ideas of c4 or take b4, like I was saying. Probably the take b4 idea isn't as good when my knight's not bound for d4 anymore. In the endgame, it might be hard for him to defend h5. I think my light square bishop's kind of important. It's covering f5. Okay. I think I'll just keep this. Nice and stable. He is cramped in the center / queen side. And you can see his dark square bishop just doesn't have many squares. I may shift and play rook a8, but for now I'm liking my pressure. Okay, this seems like an easy decision. I should probably put that pawn all the way in on b3. Yeah, let's do that. It's going to create some opportunities on the c2 square, I believe. Rook c2. So that's the move I have in mind next. And he wants bishop d1 as a defense. Okay. So how about bishop g4 now? Or can I try for some sort of other plan? Like maybe queen b5. Maybe I can play knight d7 to c5. Bishop g4, I feel like I always will have that move. Still go here. Maybe bishop g5 in mind. Plays it back, okay. I'm gonna pivot. I kind of give him the c file with this move, but I don't think he can do anything with it, so it looks fine. Yeah, like this move I can always just play like queen here or something, which I think I will do. Try to force him back. So gonna go queen c1, he does. Okay, let's cover this. Okay, now rook here comes to mind. Yeah, let's do that. Because I want to win his rook and claim the c-file. Knight c5 is in the air. Take, and then e4. How about that? Looks interesting. Time to go. Cause problems. Take with the queen. Queen d8. Let's take here. Blundered d4. He could have captured there. Got to do something. Oh, play something, John. Okay, now at least I can try to win f5. Looking for queen d8. I think that works tactically. Just barely. Let's go here. This is interesting. Yeah, he doesn't take it. That's smart. Okay, let's do this. His king can't really cross here, which is nice. It's actually very nice. So that means I can just walk in. Yeah, I've got like a complete barrier. I can just walk in with my king now. Even after that. But that was a really dumb move that I just played. Can I do this still? I might still be winning. King c3. Try to put him in zugzwang somehow. It's tough, though, even here. Try to bait him into doing something active, but it doesn't seem like he's going to. Can I take? I'm not sure about that. Okay, I'm gonna try this now. Yeah, this should almost certainly be a draw, though. Just kind of going around and around. Need to get my king out. He's doing a good job preventing my king from even getting remotely active. Okay, well, now I bring it around, but what to attack? He can sort of just keep his king there. He said OMG in the chat. That's funny. Okay. I mean, I gotta try a little bit. Should be pretty dead, but you never know. King f3 looks like a good idea here. Really thought I was close to winning this one. Maybe not to be. See if he blunders the h-pawn. He does not. Okay, I'll offer him a draw. He doesn't want it. Still a chance he'll blunder the h-pawn, but it's not looking good. I'm trying to get my king to g3 or g1, but he's just never going to allow that, unfortunately for me. Okay, well, at least now I make a little bit of progress. We're still like bumping up on the 50 move rule pretty quickly here. Actually, this suddenly isn't so easy for him, because I might win the, yeah, I'm going to win the pawn. Okay, well. Suddenly. Check. Even here. Got to march my king into e1 now. Actually, this might be winning now. I think it is. Oh, maybe not. Because now it's the wrong color bishop. Unbelievably. Can I keep him out of the corner? Nah. Yeah, now it's a draw again. Yeah. We'll just take his pawn. What a crazy game. Is it still a draw even after I win that? I played a quick move because well, first of all, I straight up missed king e4, but I played a quick move because I saw I had like 1 second left on my clock. All right, I don't know. Yeah, I think I messed up that endgame. I felt like I had a win once we got down into the opposite color bishop endgame, but maybe not. You guys can point out my inaccuracies. Okay, I'm playing Ilya. Let's play knight f3 this game on move 2. Okay, play d5. What round is this? Is this round 8 or 9? Round 8, okay. Let's go knight c3. Play a more active variation. Take. Expecting f takes. Black's going to sack a pawn. d5. Maybe c4 here. c4 actually looks interesting. I'm going to play it. Stabilize with the knight a bit. Trying to get him to move his pawns up. And here I was thinking knight a3. So, yeah, let's play it there. Just guard this pawn. Maybe fianchetto. This looks like a blitz opening that Black is playing. I mean, he has some compensation. He's got the center. Decent share of the center, but I am up a pawn. I'm thinking eventually he's going to play d4, so maybe I should play e3 right here. Or bishop f4 even. I think I like e3 a bit more. Probably look to fianchetto this dark square bishop. Yeah, the tension of just being in time pressure at all times is significant. I know it looks like we make a lot of mistakes in these games, but it's definitely worth saying, like, if you haven't participated in an event like this, I don't think you fully understand the pressure that's going on at all times. Okay, so I'd like to prevent him from playing e5. So rook e1 makes a lot of sense. If bishop b4, I always have bishop d2. Want to keep him from coordinating these two pawns. Okay, bishop there. Interesting. Yeah, he wants pressure against f2. My knight is poorly placed here. I'd like to maneuver it somewhere. I'd also like to attack this, so I'm thinking like bishop h3, knight g5 sort of stuff. That forces him back, but I don't see some strong way of continuing after that. Maybe knight c2, d3, bishop e3 is possible. Oh no, that doesn't work. Okay, I'm spending a lot of time here, probably too much. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm not sure how this is going to turn out at all, because I'm encouraging him to play d3, but I'm just really unhappy with my knight being on the side of the board there. So I'm trying to fix that. Like bishop d2 coming up. But I'm leaving myself a little exposed. Like f2 might be weak, for instance. Wants to connect his pawns. Okay, now knight g5. Yeah, let's do it. Knight d4. Can I take on d3? It's the very first question I ask myself here. No, I don't think I can right away because knight f3. This is nasty. Bishop h3 maybe? Or f3? f3 is also nasty. Alright, I gotta do something. I'm not sure. Really not sure what to do here. Just see my pieces being driven into bad positions. b4 I think I'll try next if given the chance. Let's see, against that one, probably got to play to h3, as awful as that looks, and take here with the king. So I can't let him land something on this diagonal. Okay, time to strike back here. I have 20 seconds, that's bad. He's going for queen b7. Let's try to coordinate. This knight is just a huge problem. Boy. Knight g4. Some desperation, maybe? Probably just take on c4. On knight e3 is going to land. Yikes. Alright, well, I think I have to do this. Ugh. Just going down in this one, guys. Yeah, many ways to win this one for him. Rook c3 was easy enough. Try to bring my king over, but it's not looking good. You can just gather my pawns. Yeah, I'm just going to resign this. Not much to play for. Okay. I took the pawn in the opening, but my coordination was suspect after this. In particular, I regret taking on d4. I think that was a weak decision. After take and take, his pieces just come to natural squares, and I'm left with this very poorly placed knight on a3, which, because of that trade, his bishop is now pointing against. So maybe I should delay this and try to bring my knight into the game in some other way, but I got to admit, like, good opening choice by my opponent. Played a line I wasn't really familiar with, this whole b5 Blumenfeld-style gambit. And objectively, I feel like white should be better, but that doesn't really matter in 3+2 blitz. So, all right, after 8 rounds, we have an even score. 2 rounds remaining. What's going on tournament-wise? Sebastian, Sergio, Chess, Fisher, Human. Any good games going? Haven't watched any Conrad Holt games, so let's check him out. He's trying to win with his king and queen against the 3 pieces of black. What is going on here? Because black's king is in an awfully poor position. I mean, knight e6, king e7, wow. For the moment, black looks safe. I don't see a threat that white has. So f8 is covered. Maybe a draw? Yeah, check. Can black win this? I don't think so. I think he's got to repeat. King g8, queen b8. But Conrad is not satisfied. He wants the whole thing. He wants the win. Okay, if king e7, there's f5. This is point. Black's rook is amusingly placed on h7. It's a pretty cool material imbalance. So now rook g6 is what he's going to go for. But here, f6 followed by take on e5 opens up the king somewhat, but bishop d7 is coming. King f5, bishop d7, so he's got to go back to there. That should be winning, right? He's got to sack the queen. Yep, otherwise rook e8. Should be a win. King g7, king f5. These pawns will be won at some point. Bishop back to e8, put it on g6. So now can white make his king come over and try to trade off the remaining pawns? That's the question. Black's pretty low on time. Black doesn't want to fall into the trap that I was nearly falling into in that drawn game. Crazy bishop endgame. Yeah, no, I think this is just a win now. White's king is too far away. Now he loses the pawns. Black's going to lock up the structure like b5. Yeah, he'll just take on e5, go over, win the pawns. Okay. So very risky decision for white to play for a win there, but probably Conrad made that decision based on the tournament standings. 5.5 out of 7. If he draws 5.5, 6 out of 8, it's not going to win the tournament, or he'd probably even come top 3, so he had to push for a win there. One more game remaining. White's trying for a bunch of checks. Should be losing, though. These checks always seem to run out. Okay, white's got to be a little bit careful. Or black has to be a little careful. Not to get skewered or something. So the strategy here for black is just to trade queens. If black can land something on the second rank, they win immediately. So now white's going to go for checks again. Okay, so I take that back. White is not losing immediately, because they did escape to h3, but it still looks pretty bad. Check on a2, no. White's trying for some sort of perpetual check net. There are a lot of checks, but the problem is, like with your king on h3, there's always a chance that black can check back and trade queens in the process. We'll see if black can engineer a scenario where that happens. Queen a4, yep. Queen b4 again, probably. Queen b8, or queen f8. No, queen d2. So occasionally, white is playing the non-check move. the tournament standings like here? So 3 players tied for first. Yeah, this game doesn't have an impact on the top standings. Sebastian, Sergio Chess, Fisher Human. Andrakian lurking with 6.5 out of 8. It's funny, about half the players dropped out in this one. I think a lot of people do that if they have a bad start or they just get sick of playing. They're like, I'm done. Okay, this will be over now. King G4 runs into Queen F5 mate. Otherwise, Rook H2 was coming. All right, 2 rounds remaining. My goal is to get a positive score. You know, playing good players every game, so that's what I wanted, but not happy with my last couple games. Feel like I let some wins slip. So mate in 28 is the next opponent. Going with D4 again. Okay, let's play the Exchange Slav. Playing the Exchange Slav to win. Very important. See how much theory I remember here. The answer is probably not much. So there, I think I should play knight e5 if I'm not mistaken. No, not knight e5. Castles if I'm not mistaken. Knight e5 would have been a very bad move. Now a3. Yeah, let's do that. Try to get him to take here. Get the bishop pair. Can play knight e4. I'll play rook f(c1) against that. Just solidly defend the c3 point. Also gives my bishop a square to retreat to here, which I might make use of right now. Yeah, probably a good moment to do this. And look to play c4. I want to get rid of this backward pawn. So like if black plays, let's say b6, I think c4 should be played. Maybe I can wait a move before doing it. c4 take. I'd like to take with a rook, but there's e5. It's annoying. Maybe knight h4. Maybe I should try to win the bishop pair. There's also a4, queen b5 as an idea. No, I'm just going to play c4 right away. I thought better of it. Unfortunately, I have to stick with the bishop. I don't like that so much, but seems fine. Because now I feel like I gave black b6 for free, but I should still retain some small edge. Black's queen is actually out of the game here on a5. Maybe bishop g4, trying to attack my knight. Like h3 would have been a useful move. I'll think about playing h3 if I get the chance. Knight d2, I gotta take that. Okay, now I have bishop a6, but he's gonna go knight to a5. Or knight takes d4. Knight takes d4 is an even bigger threat. Ah, does that work though? Yeah, I guess it does, because my bishop is loose. Bishop a6, knight takes d4. Yeah, take, rook takes c1, take, queen takes f4. So maybe rook d1 has to be played right now. Yeah, let's do that. I'm seeing some weird queen trap ideas. So queen a5, bishop d6, followed by bishop b4. Does it work? Might work. Wants this queen trade. Take here. His knight a5 at the very end. Okay, but I think I should go for this anyways. Ah, there's also that knight takes d4, that pesky move. Not playing well here. Okay, I'm gonna gamble and see if knight takes d4, bishop a6 is working. He decided not to try it. That might have been possible for him. Okay, now I pin you. What are you going to do against that? Because you don't have c8. That was questionable. My bishop's controlling e2, so like knight b3, I can take on c2 with either rook. Yeah, he's got to sack the exchange now. We'll just go after this a7 pawn. I think I can take that without any concerns. Let's play h3 first. Didn't want to calculate knight c6, rook c7, e5, although I guess I could just take on c6 in that case, but I don't think this pawn's going anywhere. This appears to just be winning more material. Oh, did I think I was up in exchange here? I think this entire time I was thinking I was up in exchange, which is clearly like not the case. It's actually pretty embarrassing. But I am up 2 pawns now. So we'll go with that. Let's just take. Don't want to trade down to an opposite color bishop endgame yet. So let's just advance some of these excess pawns. Reposition this. Okay, I'm just trying to mark time here for a second. Maybe d5. Let's go here. I think I'm going to bring my king over to the queen side if I can. Seems like the easiest way to win. Though as you can see, I'm struggling a little bit. Let's play d5 now. That should be winning. Promotion. He had to take that guy. All right, so we win that game. That said, though, my play could be better. I think knight takes d4 was critical. I wonder if he just didn't see this shot. I was trying to calculate knight takes d4, bishop a6. He has knight b3 then. Bishop takes c8. Ah, but you know what? He can just play rook takes c8 back. He doesn't even have to take either of my rooks. Yeah, and even if he did take one of the rooks, he was in fine shape there. So yeah, knight takes d4 was clearly better in that position. Right here after rook c8, maybe bishop f1 is inaccurate. Maybe I should play a move like h3 at this moment, because you could see h3 came in handy later. I didn't have to worry about my king safety. Also, if I'm going to advance c4, it's just a bit of a bummer that I had to make those consecutive, not consecutive, but two bishop moves, bishop back to f1 and then bishop takes c4. But I think if I take this way, I run into e5. Point being something like this, and he sets up the skewer. I don't think I have a way out of that. I'm still looking into the exchange Slav. It's an intriguing line to me. I've suffered on the black side of this line many, many times, so I'm thinking about adding it to my white repertoire. So 5 out of 9. Fisher Human. I am Fisher Human, 8 out of 9, doing really well. Okay, let's watch Andreykin. Andreykin just won. It's game over. So he'll be up there once the standings update. Is that game over? I think it should be. Let's watch my opponent from last round. And he just lost. Last game. Ooh, king and knight versus king and rook. This is a draw. I wasn't able to demonstrate it in my game with Yaroslav Zarabyuk because he won my knight right when we got into that endgame where he was about to win my knight. But this is a theoretical draw, provided the king and the knight aren't in some very bad position, like on the side of the board. And these guys actually just agreed the draw. That was nice of them because they don't keep the rest of the tournament waiting. And that's a pretty easy draw, too. Okay, Ehrenfeld is the last opponent. Full concentration this game. I'd like to finish with 6 or 5.5 at the very least. Thank you if you've watched this entire thing all the way through. Really appreciate it. Let's play a Sicilian. No open Sicilian today. Bishop c4 instead. Just a very calm system. He's hinting at playing d4 at some point, but I'm just going to develop. So this could take on characteristics of a French, maybe. d5 comes to mind, because he is ready to play d4. So yeah, I think I should probably play d5. Gives him a chance to play e5, as he just does. Now where to stick the knight? Because both d7 and e8 have some points to them, but I think I'll just go to d7. Taking here looks correct. Let's try to get this knight over somewhere useful. I'm a little bit cramped, but rook c8 is on the way. I feel like my pieces have decent posts. Probably play queen d3. Now I'm ready with knight b4, so I think he needs the move a3. He's going to do that. Okay, so here I can play knight b4 right away if I want, which I think I should. And after he moves his queen, do I take on c2 or... Knight c4 is also playable. Take on c2, tempting. Take on c2, he takes f8, I take a1, he takes e7. It's equal material at the end of that sequence. I think I am going to take here. Yeah, and he just takes with the queen. All right. So I didn't get in knight c4 with tempo, but this is still pretty good. I got rid of his dangerous light square bishop. He's in a bit of a conundrum down the c file. Got to watch some of the squares around my king, like definitely. But the position should be fine. He might want to play queen d2 to f4 and try for knight g5, let's say. That would be a natural plan here, but queen d2, he's maybe calculating what's going to happen if I play knight c4. Okay, so he opts for that first. Knight c4, b3, knight a3 followed by queen a5. I like the look of that, so I'm going to do it. Got to play active on the queen side before he gets going on the king side. Yeah, I think this is decent. And now queen a5. Am I scared of knight g5, though? Knight g5 could be annoying. Maybe I should play b5 instead. Or a6 even. Let's go a6. I just want to guard this square a little bit more. If he plays like h4 or something, maybe I take it. Probably not. Probably knight b5. It's just the number one move I gotta look out for, knight g5 in this position. Yeah, he's quite clearly going for it. f6 is possible, albeit weakening. Queen a5, knight g5, bishop b4, queen f4, rook e7. And I might I might be like almost mating him, but I could get mated myself in the process. All right, I'm going to play f6. I don't like it, but I feel like that was almost a necessity. Yeah, knight e5. Okay, let's do this. Need to get this guy back in the game. Oh boy. Yeah, my king is just going to be severely weakened now. Like really, really weak for the rest of the game. I'd like to play bishop takes d4 here. It's not working though. All right. Multiple good options for white now. Including knight h6. Knight h6 actually looks killer. Yeah, and now bishop f4. Yep, he found it. It's practically just game over. I'll try something, but it's pretty hopeless. Takes the pawn, yeah. Not much to be done here. I'll try to block. Queen check, king d6. Run with the king. All right, might as well create a threat before I lose. Check, king f6 is my only thing to do, but queen e5 looks simple enough right now. Queen g5 mate. Okay, so he got me on the king side. Where did it go wrong? Maybe here. Maybe I should toss in knight c4. Not actually certain why I didn't play knight c4. Because the knight c4, he has to play queen to c1, so it seems kind of ridiculous that I didn't play that move. Well, he could play queen e2, I guess, but... yeah, knight c4 seems like a no-brainer. As played... after this queen e3 creeping move, it's unpleasant. Knight g5 coming, and I have a real difficult time defending these. I mean, maybe I overreacted with f6, but I just didn't see a clear path. Queen a5 looks critical. I was calculating the line. Queen a5, bishop g5, bishop b4. But then, man, there's just so many nasty moves I'd face. Like, even bishop f6 looks pretty good there. So, like, if this, bishop g5. Can I take? I guess I could take on g5. Yes, take with a knight. Maybe this, yeah. But losing that dark square bishop around my king makes my position very, very shaky. So I was thinking bishop b4, but I was seeing lots of problems. Yeah, like here, for instance, just with this in mind. And how do I defend? I don't have time to take this knight. So I'll have to give that a look. This opening is pretty innocuous, but you can see it went into like a King's Indian attack style position where, you know, black has to be aware of how to defend their king, and clearly I failed to do that. I think after I play f6 and white gets to jump into e5, I just have too many problems with my king safety. So he played well from here. Up and down event. What to say? Let me just put up one of the games. So who's at the top here? Sergio Chess and Vladimirovich. Let's watch Sergio Chess and Sebastian. Highly drawish bishop endgame. Maybe let's check the Andreikin game while we're at it. That game just finished. Andreikin won. So Sergio Chess needs to win to tie. Yeah, otherwise Vladimirovich will win outright. And I don't think white's ever going to win this. So that seems like a safe bet that Andreikin is going to take this event. So up and down event. In round 3, I lost that game to Zerabuk, which was a total bummer. I was just winning at the end of that game. Time scramble. A couple shaky games towards the end. This last game, also the round, what was it, 7 game? Where I lost on the white side of that gambit opening. Wasn't completely pleased with that. Played okay in spots. I think I should have converted that opposite color bishop endgame against the guy who played h4 on move 1 against me. Oh, finally some progress. b4 being played. Really, the only player that can win this is black, but I would say the chances of black winning are infinitesimally small compared to a draw. Hard for black to even enter the white position. I mean, maybe black can propose a bishop trade on c1 at some stage, but doesn't seem likely. What's he going to do now? He's bringing his king around, but there's no entry points for the king because all of these squares can be covered by white. Bishop f4. Yeah, king moves again. Played well in that game against Scrapnel, Grandmaster Scrapnel. That was a nice win. But certainly some missed opportunities, uneven play here and there. But that's part of the process. I don't think I'll be able to play the next Title Tuesday, by the way, the one in September. I'll be playing that tournament in Dallas at the time that Title Tuesday is going on, so I'll shoot for October if I'm around. Crazy to already think of October. Time just flying. Yeah, Sebastian's trying real hard to win this. Is this the last game of the tournament? No, there's a few left. So he might go for this plan. Bishop to c1. It's looking like that's the case. But that might in fact lose, because after the trade, king b4, king c5, white gets to the d5 pawn quick. So yeah, that would not be a good plan. They're on move 123. Black desperately looking for any way into the position, but even if black were to get king h6 in, it doesn't help. Let's check out if there's any other interesting games going on. Nope, that's the only one. And game drawn, 50 move rule. All right. So Andreykin wins the event. He would have been my favorite going into this. He's just a beast. I've had the pleasure of playing Andreykin before, and he makes a meal out of me. He's just such a good player. Sergio Chess and Christian 94 tie for second. Yeah, Renato Terry Lujan just got outside the tie breaks there. I don't know if they split the money though. I don't know how that works. If they have multiple winners, if they split the money. Okay, so like I said, thank you guys for watching. Hope this was entertaining and instructive. I tried my best on these games, and I'll be back. I think I'm getting a bit stronger at these Title Tuesdays. At some point, I will manage like a solid positive score, like a 6.5 out of 10, maybe even more. Let's aim high, like 7.5 out of 10. I'm gonna make at some point. So again, thank you for watching. I appreciate your support, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right, bye.